So this is gonna be a hot topic.
Well, normally I do it. Why do you want to go out of
That's
order?
when
Do
he
you want
gets
to
to
say
throwing
something?
half his stuff away.
Behave yourself.
I'm just trying to make it easier for everybody.
And I am pushing everything on me.
Dan Hamilton was first.
It's like
Then
you're really trying to
Okay, I was going to go the other way.
you want Dan to be last?
Yes. That's the reason I want. Can I do a quick introduction of
Ray was
Megan?
gonna
Because
come
she's
right
my
at
mail.
5:30.
Sure.
Do that as soon as we get started.
5:23.
I did it with the other girl, and they made a big deal out of it in the office. So if you don't care,
Okay,
make
fine.
it real quick.
Okay.
Conley's calling in, and she's
Oh, okay. She's calling in. I got it. I can understand. Ooh, glasses. That's really important.
I guess I did just this year.
I saw some pictures, yeah, we're in the base of the Capitol, what building?
Microphones are live.
Pretty nice.
Right, I was just gonna tell you that.
Hi, Sean. Hey, what's up?
I have another one where you can't see the car. But that's turning it in. I know the person that's
So the alderwoman's on the phone, right? Alderwoman is on the phone. Oh, you just hung up on her.
like backyard.
There?
No, you hung up on her.
Oh, you won't watch it.
Turn your phone off, son.
The same one.
Are you ready? Good. Okay. The chair will call the May 20th, 2025 meeting of the City Council to order. Chair will now invite Troop 3 from Springfield, who is our guest in the audience, to come up and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. They're working on their government badge. Thank you, Troop 3. Go ahead, yeah. Here, you can stand right there. No, you're good. Come on up here. No, come on up here and stand up here.
Wherever you want to do it at.
You're good. You stand up here and lead everybody. It's all good.
Please lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good job, man.
Thank you, Troop 3. Clerk Redpath, will you please call the roll?
Yes, ma'am. Alderman Cox.
Here.
Alderman Gregory.
Here.
Alderman Williams.
Here.
Alderman Rockford.
Here.
Alderwoman Purchase. Alderwoman Natriano.
Here.
Alderman Carlson.
Here.
Alderwoman Conley. Alderwoman Conley. Alderman Donlin.
Here.
Alderman Hanauer.
Here.
Mayor Busher.
Present.
Mayor, you have a quorum.
Can I get a motion to let Alderwoman Conley join by phone?
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Alderwoman Conley, we've got you. Yes, ma'am. Civility pledge. In the interest of civility, I pledge to promote civility by listening, being respectful of others, acknowledging that we are all striving to support and improve our community, and understanding that we each may have different ideas for achieving that objective. At this time, I would like to invite the Mayor's Youth Council to come up to the podium, and with them, their Mayor's Office Liaison, Mike Disco, will come up with them. So would you all like to please come up to the podium? I think you have a process down for what you're going to do tonight.
Hi, my name is Isabel Coleman, and I'm currently a sophomore at Pleasant Plains High School. This was my first year on Mayor's Youth Council.
Awesome.
Hello, my name is Savannah Downs. I'm also a sophomore at Pleasant Plains High School, and this was my first year on the Mayor's Youth Council.
Hi, my name is Caitlin Turner. I'm a junior at Springfield High, and this is my third year on the Mayor's Youth Council.
Hello, my name is Satch Beaker, and I'm a junior at Southeast High School, and this is my second year on the Mayor's Youth Council.
Hello, my name is Mason Haig, and I am a senior at Rochester High School. And since I'm the first senior to go, I get to give you guys a small speech. So I've been a part of the Mayor's Youth Council for 2 years now, and my favorite memory has been being able to participate in both Pumpkin Smash events. The Mayor's Youth Council is an amazing organization that has helped me realize the importance of community involvement and has helped me cultivate my ability to cooperate with my peers. I'm leaving in the fall, but I will be studying biology at Northeastern University in Boston, And I'd like to thank Mr. Disco, Mayor Busher, and Purnima for the opportunity to be part of this program. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Riley Lowe, a senior at Southeast High School, and this is my first year on the Mayor's Youth Council. I joined the Mayor's Youth Council to try and better community relationships, and in the short amount of time I've been here, I can say that goal of mine has been accomplished. The Mayor's Youth Council has prepared me to take more action in helping my community, helping others, and showing me what it takes to not only be a community member, but a role model for future generations. I will always be grateful to reflect on the memories and of community and friendship while I attend Lincoln Land Community College and then UIS to become a history and government teacher for District 186. Thank you for this opportunity.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Hi, I am Isha Ramkumar, and I am a senior at Springfield High School. This is my first year on Mayor's Youth Council, and I joined to not only know my community better, but also to become a better leader and become a better citizen. So Mayor's Youth Council has given me a wonderful opportunity to cultivate a multifaceted approach to solving problems and leadership, and it also has enhanced my community awareness. And so I will be taking these lessons with me to college. I'm going to Washington University in St. Louis to study biomedical engineering. And I would like to thank Mayor Busher, Mr. Disco, and Purnima for helping us out. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Lucy Graham. I'm a senior at Lanphier High School. This is my second year in Mayor's Youth Council, and Mayor's Youth Council has really helped me realize the value of community and volunteering and just truly being involved that I wasn't really aware of before. And I'm very grateful for all of my time that I've spent, and I'm grateful for everyone involved for this amazing opportunity. And I will take these lessons that I've learned into my college career. I'm going to Western Illinois University, and I'm going to be majoring in forensic chemistry.
Awesome.
Hi, my name is Madison Marshall. I'm a senior at Lanphier High School, and I have attended Mayor's Youth Council for 2 years. Mayor's Youth Council has shown me great organizational skills as we attend regular meetings, and it has shown me the positive impacts that volunteering in your community has. I am going to Illinois College in the fall to study English education. Thank you.
Nice.
Hello, I am Leah Robinson, and I am a senior at Southeast High School. This was my first year on Mayor Youth Council. Throughout this school year, the Mayor Youth Council has taught me many valuable lessons. Before joining, I was hesitant to work as part of the team. I was so used to working alone. However, the experience has showed me that when you have the right people, teamwork can be incredibly rewarding. One of my favorite memories from this year was volunteering at the St. Patrick's Day Parade. And Naja and I worked hard to ensure that everyone parked correctly, and then after we got to ride around the volunteer float and give candy to kids. After my time at Mayor Youth Council, I plan to take summer classes at Lincoln Land Community College. I'll continue volunteering in my community, and I want to say thank you to Mayor Busher, Mr. Disco, and Purnima for the opportunity. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Anijah Wallace, and I am a senior at Lanphier High School. This is my second and last year on the Mayor's Youth Council. Being a part of the Mayor's Youth Council helped me grow as a leader, build lasting friendships, and understand the real impact of community service. And I will also give a speech as the Vice President. I want to take a moment to reflect not just on what we've accomplished, but on how this year has shaped us as individuals and as a team. Coming into this role, I didn't know exactly what to expect. I knew I'd be working with passionate students and making a difference in our community, but I didn't realize how much this experience would shape who I am today. Being a part of this council has taught me what leadership really looks like. It's not always about having the loudest voice or leading the charge. It's about listening and showing up for others and working side by side with people who care just as much as you do. And that's exactly what we did this year. Whether we were brainstorming new service projects, working on filling up pantries, or simply laughing during meetings, we built something special together, a bond rooted in shared purpose and mutual respect. I'm proud to have been a part of a team that never hesitated to step up and support not only the community, but each other. Personally, this council gave me confidence. It taught me how to speak up and how to organize and how to collaborate with people from all walks of life. And I know I'll carry these lessons with me into college and into my future career. I'm going to be going to the University of Illinois in Urbana-Champaign, and I'm going to be studying mechanical engineering. Thank you.
Awesome.
Ladies and gentlemen of the City Council, it is an honor to once again stand before you on behalf of the Mayor's Youth Council as president. My name is Josephine Arquette, and I'm a junior at Springfield High School. This is my second year as president of the Mayor's Youth Council. As our year comes to a close, I am proud to reflect on the meaningful work we have accomplished and the deepening connections we formed in the community. This year, we not only maintained connections, we broadened our spectrum. We partnered with organizations like Solid Rock Youth Transitional Services and Compass for Kids to strengthen community ties and deepen our understanding of the challenges faced by those around us. We continued our tradition of collecting resources for youth populations, once again successfully facilitating collaboration among the local high schools. We also continued our contributions to the Build event, echoing Mayor Bush's vision of a city that is not also well-functioning, but also beautiful and inspiring. Whether through planting during Arbor Day, decorating at Christmas, or simply showing up to serve, we've witnessed how beautifying our city builds pride and connection among residents. And most recently, we've been honored to support the Lanphier High School Food Pantry. This project has become a vital resource for many students and families. However, as summer approaches, we recognize a critical need, ensuring that this pantry continues to serve those who rely on it, even as school is out of session. To that end, we respectfully ask for your support, whether through resources, partnerships, or simply spreading the word. However, excuse me, sorry, I made a mistake. However, we understand the importance of young people having food. When people go without food, it really impacts their success and performance throughout life, and we hope to be that voice for the youth. We recognize that this pantry continues to serve many of those who rely on it. As we look forward to the future, we are driven by a vision not just to volunteer, but to lead. We strive to launch a campaign that amplifies youth voices and creates a lasting, tangible impact on every project we undertake. We are immensely grateful to the many community members, city departments, and organizations who have stood alongside us this year. To our peers who are graduating and moving on to new chapters, we thank you for your leadership and dedication that will continue to shape this organization in the future. The Mayor's Youth Council is just getting started. With your continued support, we hope to expand our reach, deepen our impact, and inspire the next generation of civic leaders to build a more connected, compassionate, and vibrant Springfield. Thank you so much.
I would just like to thank all of you for participation, and for those of you that aren't aware, the Mayor's Youth Council does a lot of philanthropy in the community, and this group of students, although they're all from different schools, have really bonded and connected, and they have some lasting friendships among them. So just thank you for showing adults what can be done. Some great leaders there. Are you ready for zoning? Okay. The next item on the agenda will be docket number 2025-004 for the property located at 3245 Mathers Road.
Mayor,
Alderman Hanauer.
I'd like to hold this for 30 days till the June 17th meeting, please.
So we have a motion to hold for 30 days until the June 17th meeting. Can I get a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Or sorry, discussion. Anybody have discussion on holding this?
Isn't it July 15th meeting or June?
No, it says
30 days would be
June
June
17th.
17th, yeah. Any other discussion? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Alderwoman Conley, how do you vote?
Alderman Conley, how do you vote?
Okay, and all those opposed, nay? The ayes have it. Thank you, Alderman Hanauer. The next item on the agenda is docket number 2025-008 for the property located at 203 North Glenwood Avenue, and this petition has been withdrawn by the petitioner. We did have Mr. DeWeese signed up to speak on this. Is Kurt DeWeese in the crowd? Just wanted to give him his opportunity. He is not, so we will move on. The next item on the agenda is docket number 2025-017 for the property located at 3041 Taylor Avenue.
Yeah, Mayor,
Alderman Williams.
I would like to push this back to the July the 17th date. We need to delay it. We're waiting on some information from Ida.
Okay.
Is that July 15th?
It would be
July 15th?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So we have a motion to postpone for July 15th. We have a second. Any discussion from the council members on that? Seeing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Alderman Conley, how do you vote?
Any nays? The ayes have it. Motion passes. Thank you, Alderman Williams. Next item on the agenda is item number 2025-018 for the property located at 4550 HPR Drive, AKA 4525 West Wabash Avenue, Suite A. The petitioners are Yellowstone Center LLC. The present zoning classification is B1 Highway Business Service District 155.033. The requested zoning relief is a conditional permitted use pursuant to sections 155.033C7, conditional permitted uses in the B1 Highway Business Service District, taverns and microbreweries, exclusive of dine-in or drive-up windows for the sale of alcohol, and 155.200 taverns to allow for the sale of liquor by the drink at a tavern. Springfield Sangamon County Regional Planning staff recommendation is approval of the requested conditional permitted use limited to no more than 2,149 square feet in 4525 Wabash Avenue, Suite A. Planning and Zoning Commission recommendation is approval and concur with the staff recommendation. The chair will now entertain a motion.
Mayor, I make a motion, we concur with staff recommendation.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to concur with staff recommendation. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no.
Alderman Conley, how do you vote?
And the motion passes with 10 voting yes, none voting no. The next item on the agenda is item docket number 2025-019 for the property located at Tract 1, south of and adjacent to 3520 Old Jacksonville Road, PIN, part of 21-01.0-126-004, and Tract 2, 1301 Pine Creek Drive. Petitioners are Cedarhurst of Springfield Real Estate, LLC. The present zoning classification is R1, Single Family Residence District, Section 155.015, and S1, Neighborhood Commercial and Office District, Section 155.030. The requested zoning relief is reclassification to OFF, Office District, Section 155.020, a conditional permitted use pursuant to Section 155.020C7, conditional permitted uses in the Office District, residential uses allowed in the R3 District, and Section 155.187, and a variance of Section 155.020A, regulations of the OFF Office District, that the relief granted in docket 2017-029 for a variance of Section 155.020A, regulations of the OFF Office District, be granted to tracts 1 and 2 to keep the relief consistent across the entirety of the zoning lot. Springfield Sangamon County Regional Planning staff recommendation is approval of the requested OFF zoning for tracts 1 and 2, approval of the conditional permitted use as submitted, and approval of the requested variance as submitted. The Planning and Zoning Commission recommendation is accept the staff recommendation. The chair will now entertain a motion.
Chair, I move that we accept the Planning and Zoning recommendation.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to accept the Planning and Zoning recommendation. Any discussion? Seeing none, the voting will now be open. All those in favor vote yes. All those opposed vote no.
Alderwoman Conley, how do you vote?
Alderman Hanauer? Alderman Hanauer?
Sorry, I hit it.
And the motion passes with 10 voting yes, none voting no. The next item on the agenda is docket number 2025-020 for the property located at 38 Island View Lane. The petitioners are Baron Paul Wiley as trustee of the Baron Paul Wiley Revocable Trust and Kelly Ann Wiley as trustee of the Kelly Ann Wiley Revocable Trust. The present zoning classification is R1 Single Family Residence District, Section 155.016. The requested zoning relief is variance of Section 3 setbacks and Section 4 boathouses of Appendix A to the Lake Land Use Plan. Section 3 to authorize the existing roof arrangement, enclosed boathouse, covered patios, and covered dock to the extent any portion thereof is considered an accessory structure located within 75 feet of the lakeshore line. Section 4 to authorize the existing roof arrangement, enclosed boathouse, covered patios, and covered dock to the extent that any portion thereof is deemed to be part of the boathouse constructed more than 20 feet from the shoreline. And Section 4 to authorize the existing roof arrangement, enclosed boathouse, covered patios, and covered dock to the extent that the area under the roof or any other portion of the structure or improvements are deemed to be the boathouse square footage that is in excess of 600 square feet, and for such other and further relief necessary for the purposes stated within the petition. Springfield Sangamon County Regional Planning staff recommendation is approval with the limitation that the footprint of the existing building should not increase. The Planning and Zoning Commission recommendation is accept the staff recommendation for approval. The chair will now entertain a motion.
Mayor, I make a motion to adopt the recommendation of the Zoning and Planning Commission.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt the Planning and Zoning recommendation. Before we get to speakers who have signed up to speak, are there any discussion from the council members first? Okay, seeing none. Signed up to speak, we have in advance is Michael Hortzman. Mr. Hortzman.
Thank you very much. My name is Mike Horstman. I represent Dr. Kim Hodgson. I'm with Sorley Northrop Law Firm. We're here today in opposition to this motion for the variance for 38 Island View Lane. We believe that the variance, first off, is unnecessary, as the parties have stated in their petition for this variance and in all of the pleadings. They have based their defense, and that would be the pleadings and the litigation with my client over this matter. They have based their defense on the fact that they've complied with the ordinance. And therefore, we believe that it's unnecessary, and in fact, there is no substantial city interest in them requesting the variance. The matter is concluded. The building is, or the improvement is constructed. The city has inspected it. Everything to do with this has been concluded. The only reason why they're here asking you for a variance is so that in the event that they are found liable in our litigation, they have this to fall back on in basically saying that we don't have a case because the variance has been granted. And we don't think it's appropriate for the city to be in that position. We also believe that that you need to look at what occurred in the matter when you consider whether to grant a variance. In this case, they constructed 80% of the building prior to submitting plans or obtaining permits. In this case, there wasn't the normal process that would have alerted them to the fact that they were not complying with the zoning requirements or the plan, the lake use plan requirements. And that they had, if they had done it properly, and if they had submitted them before they started construction, that they would have gotten that guidance. In addition to that, when the permits were eventually issued by the city, there in fact were conditions placed on those permits, one of which was that no portion of the building or of the improvement should be more than 20 feet from the shoreline. Okay, and in this case, that's exactly one of the conditions that they're looking to vary now. And that was the condition placed in there by Alderman, or by Mayor Langfelter and Corporation Counsel Zirkle, specific to this. And it was simply ignored in the process of constructing this. And so, you know, we believe that the fact that it's 28.5 feet from the shoreline is significant. It goes back considerably further than what was allowed. In addition to that, we also believe that you're setting a precedent in this case. We believe that you are deciding whether or not, or at least setting up a situation where future lakefront improvements will have to be measured by this. And we don't think that a haphazard method of making these improvements makes sense. We believe that if you think that we want to put improvements on the lakefront and to allow them, all right, right now it's limited. All right, you're allowed a boathouse, and you're limited as to what you can do with it. You're allowed a shoreline improvements wall that you're limited in what size that can be. You're allowed a dock, and it can only go out so far. Any other improvement that you want to put has to be at least 75 feet from the shoreline. And if those aren't the rules, you know, those are the rules that my client bought his property believing were in place. All right, and that's the rules that he was operating under. If those are no longer the rules, then you should change the land use plan for the lake. And you should change the zoning ordinance. And that way it's an even footing for everybody involved. And we don't have a situation where if you know how to work the variance process and the system, you can get this done. We believe for those reasons that you should deny this petition. And we think that it's not fair that the City Council should be making a determination that will ultimately affect the litigation as to whether or not they violated the ordinance. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. The next person who signed up to speak in advance is Kim Hodgson.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to address the council. I am Kim Hodgson, the immediate neighbor to 38 Island View Lane, even though I'm number 2 and they're 38. It's kind of like that out at the lake. 2 North Cotton Hill Lane was the first and only home I have ever purchased 39 years ago when I first moved to Springfield. Being a first-time home buyer can be stressful enough, but Lake Springfield properties come with a little extra uncertainty, that being that you lease rather than own the property. While at first off-putting, after thoroughly reading the lake land use plan, which I can assure you all lake land leaseholders do, I came to realize that this is actually a positive feature of the lake ownership designed to protect and preserve the lakefront and properties from excessive development. Over the years, we built our house according to the land use plan, built our boat dock and shore wall according to the land use plan, and maintained our landscaping in accordance with the land use plan. We knew our neighbor was going to be putting in a boat dock, but frankly, we were not concerned because we were well aware of the restrictions in the lake land use plan. We had every reason to believe and expect that our neighbor would also comply with them, as we had, or seek a variance before construction, giving us the opportunity to have our concerns heard. While that would have been the preferred pathway to have our concerns heard, as you know, that didn't happen. At least that is until we met with former Mayor Langfelder, who eventually authorized issuance of the permits after stipulating changes and conditions that the Wileys largely ignored and that CWLP never confirmed had been adhered to, forcing us to initiate lengthy and costly litigation to prove the violations. That CWLP never confirmed compliance with the mayor's agreement is regretful, but not at all our fault and not something that we should have to pay the price for. Without a doubt, this construction degrades our view and privacy, and I strongly believe that if the Willies had adhered to their agreement with Mayor Langfelder, we wouldn't be here today. But they didn't, so here we are. I implore you not to reward their repeated noncompliance by granting this variance and instead reject this petition and let us have our day in court, a fundamental principle of the democracy we live in. Thank you very much for your consideration.
Thank you, sir. We have one more person signed up to speak, Daniel Hamilton, and as Mr. Hamilton approaches, we do want to acknowledge that Alderwoman Purchase joined us at 5:35 p.m. this evening.
Thank you.
Good evening, Madam Mayor. Good evening, members of the City Council. My name is Daniel Hamilton. I'm an attorney at Brown, Hay & Stevens here in the city of Springfield, and I represent Brian and Kelly Willie, the petitioners who are seeking the variance here this evening. In 2019, the petitioners bought the property located at 38 Island View Lane. It's a lake lot, as you can tell by the discussion thus far. And in 2021, they commenced construction that included the replacement and enhancement of a pre-existing dock, the new roof and other enhancements to a covered patio structure, and construction of a boathouse. Foundation permits were issued. Eventually, all other permits were issued. And as part of that process, certain conditions, 5 individual conditions, were placed on the Willies that are not placed on other property owners seeking similar permits. Throughout 2022, construction occurred, and on August 26, 2022, after several inspections by the City of Springfield, final approval of the structure was granted. The Willies obtained their permits. The structure was inspected by the City of Springfield multiple times, and they were given final approval for the structure. Throughout that time, the Willies were told that they were in compliance with the Lake Use Plan and the City of Springfield Code of Ordinances. However, after the neighbors initiated litigation alleging violations, CWLP, in the midst of depositions, said that there may be a technical violation with the structure, which was the first time, this is years after the original inspection, the first time that any such violation was alleged by the City of Springfield. As such, Mr. Horstman's comments about the zoning being unnecessary, the variances being unnecessary, is simply not true. The petitioner was told all along that they were in compliance until 2 years later, in a deposition, CWLP said different. What occurred is that permits were issued, inspections occurred, and final approval was granted. A property owner can do no more than that to comply with the city code. If the city then comes back 2 years later and says that there may be a technical violation, it's the city's duty to stand behind the permits that were issued. This has happened before in other cases. There was a 2012 case where a duplex was built in an R1 district. Duplexes are not allowed in an R1 district. But the property owner obtained a permit, inspections occurred, and the problem was not raised until years later whenever the property owner went to sell the property. It's the exact same issue here. The property owner followed all the steps, did everything that they were supposed to, and then a violation was found later that they had no control over because they had relied on the city throughout the process. The former speaker talked about the impact to their property. And before the meeting here this evening, these handouts were placed on your chairs that demonstrate the location of the boathouse. The boathouse at issue is right here. And if you look up in this corner, that's the neighbor's residence behind all the foliage. And in addition, there are several pictures that follow from the neighbor's house showing his view of this particular boathouse, and the fact that it's these pictures that were taken in the winter still show that the trees block the view between his residence and the boathouse. In the summer, I'm sure if we went out there today and all the trees were in full bloom, there would be even less to see. There was also an allegation that the covered patio, that the boathouse extends 20 feet beyond the shoreline. The issue is, in the permit that was issued by the City of Springfield, one of the conditions that was specific said that the no covered patio area shall be enclosed at the time after the boathouse construction is completed. The permit authorized this covered patio that goes beyond the 20 feet. The boathouse structure, the enclosed structure, is within 19 feet of the shoreline. It is compliant. What extends beyond is the covered patio that was also authorized by the building permit. The Willies built this building in compliance with everything that the city asked it to do, and in fact jumped through additional hoops that other applicants don't have to because of a neighbor complaint. They complied with the building permit, they got a final inspection, and they went on about their lives. Now, a variance is necessary because of this allegation by CWLP 3 years later. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Any discussion from the alders? Thank you, Mr. Hamilton. So before we take a vote, I want to just give the alders an opportunity to ask any questions. Alderwoman Notriano.
Thank you, Mayor. It's not really a question. I just would like to state that it's pretty disturbing to hear that the city made mistakes in permitting. And it's disturbing because now the homeowner is supposed to be held responsible for mistakes of the city. And I just want to point out to everyone and my colleagues that this type of, if we were to hold, what am I trying to say? These mistakes made by permitting really discourage people from being comfortable making changes to their houses or their buildings. And I've been hearing a lot lately about we're holding individuals who have gotten approval and have purchased buildings who are now being held accountable for something someone did previously. And I just want to say, like, these types of issues are really disturbing, and they're not good for development in the city. So I will be voting to grant this variance. I support your motion, Alderman Cox, and I hope that we now are thinking about putting measures in place to prevent this sort of thing from happening in the future. Thank you.
Alderman Williams?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. It's from CWLP. Who's the representative tonight? If you can come up, please. What is you guys' take on this situation?
Alderman, I want to be pretty careful about what I say because we are also being sued as part of this thing. So CWLP is named as a party along with the petitioners in this lawsuit. So I don't want to say too much, but I do want to say I'm not sure we're convinced there was a mistake, but I won't dispute that during having to be deposed as part of this lawsuit, people were asked, well, is this roof make the structure more than 20 feet from the shore? And one of the employees did say, well, if it is more than 20 feet from the shore, that could be a violation. We haven't measured it. We're not sure if that's true. And I don't know that a mistake was made, but obviously there's a lot of attention on every little detail of this case because it's in litigation. So we didn't take a formal position on this variance. And I don't even know if I answered your question, Alderman. I'm sorry.
No, you spoke to the issue, and that's
Okay.
what I wanted to hear
you.
because, you know, I have a lot of entrepreneurs, if you will, with that spirit anyway, that are always building something or starting something, and they get in trouble with permits, and they get in trouble with this. And then they get halfway through it or almost done with the project, and then it's something else that was approved at first, now it ain't approved. And so I do think we got some issues. I kind of agree with the Alderwoman that we need to take a hard look at our permitting and how we operate, because we create some of this. Now, me, myself, I defer to the alderman whose ward it's in, because they live there, they know their neighborhoods and their ward better than I do. But I feel
Obviously,
some kind of way.
the lake is particularly complicated because it has a separate land use plan and a whole
Well,
separate review.
he should know. He represents him. I don't. So I have to defer to him, and I'm going to be supporting it. But I feel some kind of way about, after hearing this, here we are again with this CWLP department not being clear on certain things or willing to, I can't think of a word, but now I'm not going to say you guys caused it, but even in my little examples with my little guys in restaurant kitchens and all these different things, it's always this back and forth and go back and fix this, tear this wall back down because we need to look at this first, then put the wall. Some of it is on our guys. They're entrepreneurs, they're happy, they got this vision, this ideal, and they just do things without the proper process. But in this case, these people had tried to do the proper process.
I agree.
And now we're in court, and now we can't really talk about it. Now it's kind of hold me back on some of the things I want to say. I'll just say, when Director Brown gets back, if you would please tell him to take a hard look at at the permitting and zoning rule, and so that we give people the proper guidance in the beginning, so we don't get in this situation. Thank you.
I understand your comment, and I will take it back to Director Brown. I'm not sure that I think that happened in this case. I think we worked well with the homeowner in this case, and, but I will absolutely take it back to him.
Alderman Alderman Williams, are you done?
Yes.
Okay. Alderman Hanauer.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I think that in Mr. Horstman, I agree with you. We need to go back, and we've talked about it here. We need to look at this land use plan, and we need to adapt it. We've got a lot of pools that we've allowed to go, up to 40, maybe 40, 35 feet from the lake. We've allowed them. I don't know if there's one that we haven't allowed. We've had docks that we've moved out. We've allowed them to extend out because it's too shallow where they are. We just did one last month or the month before last. You know, I do think that we need to look at that land use plan, make the changes necessary so that we don't get into this situation. I got to be honest with you. Looking at this dock, that's a nice dock. I mean, you could have a heck of a lot worse dock sitting next to your property. I mean, I just looking, I don't know how it really obstructs your view. If anything, the trees obstruct your view more than the dock does. So, and you certainly can't cut those down. So, I'm going to support this, but I do agree. I think we do need to look at that. Much like I've said about signs, the new digital signs. We need to adapt so that we don't have these come to us all the time, and it might save taxpayer money and save us time. So thank you.
Alderman Cox.
Thank you, Mayor. And thank you, fellow councilmen, for your comments. I just want to kind of go on the record, I guess, to say that so goes the life of an alderman. I heard from constituents throughout Ward 1, from other wards as well. Some opposed to this variance, some very much in favor of this variance from both sides. And unfortunately, we can't split a baby, right? I think Mr. Hamilton summed up the facts of this matter the best. I can tell you I did my due diligence. I read every document that I was given. I met with both homeowners. I visited both properties. And I just do believe that in this matter, in this case, that the granting of the variance is appropriate. As far as what Alderman Hanauer said, I agree with his comments that there does need to be some fixing of the permitting process on the lake specifically, because it is weird with the lease and then the lake use plan and the land use plan. It's different than anywhere else in the city. And I have talked to members of the Lake Springfield Improvement Association, the Homeowners Association of the lake, and I've committed to them that I want to work with them. I am happy to try to get better definitions and get a better process worked out and streamlined to prevent these issues from happening in the future. And I look forward to working with CWLP during that process as well. Obviously, I want the city involved and I want the homeowners involved. So anyway, thank you very much, Mayor.
Alderwoman Conley, do you wish to address this issue?
Okay. Any other discussion? Seeing none, the voting will now be open. All those in favor of the motion, I'm sorry, there was a motion to approve the staff recommendation, just in case you want to know what you're voting for. So you're voting yes. If you vote yes, it will pass. If you vote no, it will not.
Alderwoman Conley, how do you vote?
So the motion passes with 10 voting yes, none voting no. This does conclude the zoning portion of the meeting. Uh-oh, did we lose her?
We must have. Yes, ma'am.
Pizza.
That's all right.
Okay.
We're getting ready.
While we're transferring to the treasurer, I think Clerk Redpath has an announcement to make.
Yes, as you all know, last week I was able to introduce one of the new team members of the clerk's office, and tonight I want to introduce Megan Shenick. She's another one of the new stones in our wall that we're rebuilding in the clerk's office, and I can tell you that we completely transitioned into the new format, and it's going very well for us.
Welcome.
chair will now recognize Treasurer Redpath Fager for presentation of the financial report.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The Treasurer's report for the corporate fund for the month of April. Beginning balance is $58,530,617. We took in total receipts of $11,406,241. Total disbursements, $10,135,830, which left the corporate fund ending balance in the month of April at $59,855,027. The ending general fund balance includes $10,323,663, which is the ending balance in April for the ARPA money. That concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Treasurer. The chair will now entertain a motion to approve the financial report.
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The chair will also recognize the OBM Director Metzger for the presentation of any questions you might have for the contract report. Any questions for Director Metzger? Seeing none, we will move on with the meeting. The chair will entertain a motion to dispense with the reading of the minutes of the May 6, 2025 regular City Council meeting and approve the minutes.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The chair will entertain a motion to incorporate the pre-council first reading of ordinances into the record of this council meeting.
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. The chair will entertain a motion to incorporate the pre-council reading of the consent agenda into the record of this council meeting.
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The chair will now entertain a motion to place the consent agenda on final passage.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Now we're on to discussion. Before we had one citizen sign up to speak on this one ordinance on the consent agenda. Do any council members have any discussion? Seeing none, signed up in advance for ordinance 2025-209 was Kanan Renneberger. Kanan, are you here to speak? It's okay. Oh, the timer. You need to do a timer by your phone.
Good evening, Council, Mayor. I'm Kanan Reinberger, President of the Springfield Firefighters Union, also a Springfield resident in Ward 10. I come up here to speak in favor of this ordinance. As many of you know, this is 40 years in the making of no updates to the EMS system that's in the city and the county. 5 years ago, we started as the department, running more calls, taking over more ambulances, having a lot more wait times that the citizens don't deserve. So this is a great first step, albeit small, to have more accountability for the EMS system, for the emergency care that the citizens of this Springfield deserve. It's a good first step going forward. It's a good first step to have that accountability so that we can build on it, especially since we can revisit it every year. Once this is all said and done, I think we will start to see a little relief with some of the work that's done. With that being said, there's still a huge underserved population, the unhoused, mental health, overdoses, things like that. There was over 1,700 mental health calls in 2024. That includes overdoses, suicides, suicidal ideation, that sort of thing. People in mental health crisis where it's not always in the best interest of, no disrespect to the police, but sometimes that can escalate the situation. People that are in crisis like that. So we're still trying to work with the EMS system, to work with the staff, to develop a system that works better. Maybe we have a common presence. Maybe we can work with them to develop a better system, better resources, that sort of thing, to the community that is traditionally underserved in that respect. With that being said, we are in favor of this as the local, the 220 members that we have to support it. And while I have your attention, we also want to support as the local 194, which is the appointment of Chief Zumo, going forward. We've had a great relationship with him. He's had a great relationship as in union representation and as an assistant chief. So I just wanted to speak on that as well. So thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Alderman Carlson.
Thank you, Mayor. Kanan?
Kanan, you're not done.
I assume this was as a result of these meetings that you've had the last year and a half, right?
Correct.
So I think we'd be remiss, and I'll say it, if, thank you to the private ambulance companies who you guys have meeting with the last year or so. I think the mayor maybe set that committee up a year ago or so, but everybody working together, right?
Yeah, we got in the same room, starting a couple years ago with all the ambulance companies, tried to find some common ground with the EMS director through Memorial, through St. John's, through Sangamon County Dispatch, all the entities that are involved essentially, and try to start building to a better solution. Obviously, we couldn't change everything overnight, and it's still a work in progress, and it's always going to be as the call volume continues to go up and more people use emergency medical care as their primary physicians, that sort of thing.
So I just want to say thanks for listening to their concerns.
Yes, sir.
And I know you guys met a handful of times over the years, so.
Yep.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Alderman Carlson, and thank you, Kanan, as well. And I need to give a shout out to former Chief Canny, because he was who I asked to take this on, and he put the committee together in my request, like you said, Alderman Carlson, to solve this problem. So thank you. Thank you to Chief Canny, who's no longer here. Any other, discussion from council members? Seeing none, the voting will now be open. All those in favor of the motion, please vote yes. All those opposed, please vote no.
Alderwoman Conley, how do you vote?
Yes.
And the motion passes with 10 voting yes, none voting no. Agenda item 2025-191 is currently remaining tabled or in committee. We're good there?
Yes, Mayor, I would ask that it remain tabled at this time.
Perfect. The next item on the agenda is the debate agenda 2025-194, an ordinance approving the appointment of Nicholas Sumo as Fire Chief of the Springfield Fire Department effective May 17th, 2025. The chair will entertain a motion to place, we have a motion and a second to place agenda number 2025-195 on final passage. Chief Sumo, I'd like you to come up just one last time. Well, you weren't here for the committee meeting, were you? This is your first time, never mind.
Good evening, everyone. No,
So we're on
got
discussion.
to miss out last week, I guess.
Last chance.
Last chance, yeah.
If you don't mind introducing yourself to everyone, please.
Sure. First of all, thank you all for considering me for this position. It's a great honor to be potentially the 44th fire chief for the Springfield Fire Department. Growing up in the fire service, it's become a family. It is part of my family, and it's a great honor to be here. I'm born and raised in Springfield, lived on the north end, went to St. Joseph's grade school, attended SHG for high school. Before I joined the military, I did 20 years in the Illinois Air National Guard. Before I joined that, I graduated from Eastern Illinois University with my bachelor's degree. Before joining the fire department, I've been here for 24 years. Served in just about every role there is. I think I potentially could be the first person to ever have every rank of the fire department, all 8 ranks. I don't know that's ever been done before, but so I've worked my way to the top, hopefully. Been a member of a lot of committees, served the union. I served 6 years as the union secretary, helped negotiate, I think, 3 contracts. Now I've seen it on both sides. So that's a short little synopsis of my career and stuff, so.
Thank you.
Any questions, I guess?
Discussion from council members. All right.
Thank you.
You got off easy.
I'm sorry.
I'll take
Assistant
it.
Chief Gill. So we have a motion and a second. No further discussion. The voting will now be open. All those in favor of the motion, please vote yes. All those opposed, please vote no.
Alderwoman Conley, how do you vote?
Very happily, yes.
Very happily, yes, she says, Chief Sumo. So the motion passes with 10 voting yes, none voting no. Congratulations, Chief Sumo. The next item on the agenda is item number 2025-195, an ordinance approving the appointment of Joseph Beal as Chief of the Springfield Police Department effective May 31st, 2025. The chair will entertain a motion to place agenda number 2025-156 on, no, 2025-195 on final passage. We have a motion and a second. We're to discussion. Assistant Chief Beal, can I ask you to come up? Do you have anything you would like to say first, sir?
Sure. First of all, I'd like to thank the mayor for the opportunity she's given me to serve potentially as the next chief of police for one of, if not the best police department in the nation. Thank you, Mayor. Also, I'd like to thank the council members for potentially entrusting me in being the leader of this department. As your police chief, it will truly be my honor to serve this community alongside with the dedicated men and women of our department. Each day we come to work with a shared purpose: to protect with courage, to serve with compassion, and to build lasting trust with people that we are sworn to protect. We believe that true public safety begins with relationships, and that's why we are committed to our community partners through meaningful engagement, whether it's through programs like books and badges, neighborhood meetings, or just showing up and being present at local events. We want to be approachable, responsive, and connected to the real needs of every resident we serve. These relationships are never taken for granted. They are the bridges we continue to build every single day. Transparency and accountability are cornerstones of our department. We know how critical public trust is, and we will work tirelessly to earn it and maintain it every single day. That means being open about our policies and practices, listening closely to your concerns, and communicating clearly, especially when moments are tough. Supporting our officers is just as important as serving the community. We continue to invest in training, not just technical skills, but in empathy, communication, and leadership. And we are prioritizing officer wellness because we know that when our officers are supported and healthy, they serve our community with even greater integrity. I've been blessed to serve under Chief Scarlett for the last 3 years. In that time, I've had a front row seat to see what it means to build real, lasting connections with the community. I will carry that example with me every single day. To the members of this community, you have my unwavering commitment to public safety, transparency, and collaboration as we work together for a stronger, safer Springfield. To the incredible men and women of this department, some here tonight, you have my full support. I will work tirelessly to ensure that you have the tools, the training, and the care that you need to thrive, both on duty and at home. Thank you all. Now let's build something great together. Thank you.
Thank you, Assistant Chief Beal. Alderman Gregory.
Just one last quick question. Your
Yes.
command staff, is it going to be the same, Chief?
We have some openings, and we're definitely going to be looking at doing some promotions soon.
You going to be switching that out? Is the same that was there? I haven't even looked in the crowd to see if they're there, but Dodd, Ms. Pickford.
We have Deputy Chief Dowd is still with us, Deputy Chief Pickford, Deputy Chief Stunkel as well, Commander Ronnie Williams, and then Commander Leach, who will be promoted to Assistant Chief on June 2nd.
Thank you. I only ask those questions because those who surround us and influence us is always important. And, over the last 6.5 years since I've been here, many of those have been on the command staff, and I know that they're good officers and good people. So I think they'll help you through in this new role. And get ready because we'll have some more to talk about. Thank you. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Alderman Carlson.
Thank you, Chief. Or thank you, Mayor.
Sure.
Chief, a couple more constituents called, and I hate to beat a dead horse here, but
Traffic?
speeding.
Okay.
Speeding.
Yes, sir.
They hit me again the other day, so.
Here's what I would ask on that, sir. If there's any information you can provide us as the locations, times of days, vehicles involved, people involved, please give me a call.
MPO Davis is on my speed dial.
He's on
so
it?
Does a great
There you
job.
go. There
Does a
you go.
great job.
Okay.
Thanks.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you.
Any other discussion from the alders? I would like to acknowledge that we do have a cast member here that's supporting Assistant Chief Beal. We have a community action support team, and thank you for being here as a cast member as well. So the voting will now be open. All those in favor of the motion, please vote yes. All those opposed, please vote no.
Alderman Conley, how do you vote?
Again, I'm very happy to vote yes.
Chief Beal, she said she's very happy to vote yes. Alderwoman Notriano, all right. And the motion passes with 10 voting yes, none voting no. Congratulations, Chief Creel.
Any other chiefs?
The next item on the agenda will be item 2025-206, an ordinance authorizing an intergovernmental cooperation agreement with Sangamon County for animal control services within the city limits and authorizing payment for fiscal year '25 in the amount not to exceed $384,095 from March 1st, 2024 through February 28th, 2025 for the Office of Budget and Management. The chair will now entertain a motion to place agenda item number 2025-156 on final passage.
So move.
Oh, 2025-206, another typo on here.
So
We have
move.
a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Yes.
I'm looking at you. I was waiting for you to click. Alderman Williams.
Yeah, I wasn't here last week. Is there a representative or anyone here, Mayor, from, not so much the city side, but from the actual animal control itself?
No, I don't believe so.
So they just really got it in a bag that they don't have to show up to answer questions?
Well, I don't know about that.
So,
They provided this service for the previous year.
Yeah,
And-
that's the
and I'm-
problem.
yeah.
They supposed to have. So, speaking of the service and the contract, are they currently under contract?
They are currently performing they continue to
I
perform
didn't
the
ask
services.
that. I said, do they currently have a contract?
Do
sir?
not currently.
Okay, thank you. When did that contract expire?
The
28th.
28th of February
The 28th of this year?
of this year.
Okay, so now I'm going to support this because it's the right thing to do. I mean, it's a previous, it's old, it's money owed. But my problem why I need them here is because they don't need to be that arrogant, first of all. They need to show up to answer questions that we may have, like several things dealing with animal control that has not been working for us. In fact, we may need to hold this mayor until we get them here to answer the questions before we just keep giving them money. When are they going to come? When is the new contract going to be signed?
Well, we continue, we have discussions with them consistently to try and bring costs down, to try and provide better service. So I think when we come to an agreement, that's when we would bring forth the new contract.
And they would be required to be here?
Yes.
I can request them to be here.
Yeah,
certainly.
please. I mean, again, this is a situation where they're wanting money from us. We got aldermen up here to act like they're the only ones that know how to do animal control and the only ones that we can afford. I disagree. I think the new contract needs to be bidded out. Was it bidded out?
No.
See, this is our problem. We don't get service for our constituents because we never make it competitive.
Well, with respect to that, whoever bids a contract would have to adhere to State of Illinois Animal Control Code,
Okay.
Public Health, Safety, and Animal Welfare Act, as well as the, I believe, Animal Welfare Act.
Has it ever
So,
been bidded out?
to my knowledge, no.
Okay, so we'll
It was
never
agreed
know.
to-
We'll never know if anybody else can do what you just said, sir, until we put a bid out and see if anybody's interested. We may get surprised.
Okay.
We may know. We should not, as a council, always accept subpar service from somebody just because we got agreement with friends. We need to hold them accountable. They need to be here to be held accountable. Now, again, this is money owed, so I think the proper thing to do is to pay them. But before they get a new contract, they need to be required here to answer numerous questions. In my ward, I don't know about the others, but in my ward, which I believe is one of the wards with the most calls, we do not get good service. Are you aware of that?
No.
Well, see, because you're up here speaking for them, and they need to be here to speak for themselves. So how many cars or units do they have that do animal control
Well, I believe they have 5 animal control officers presently
for the whole county?
for the whole county, correct?
See, to me, that doesn't work, because you run the shelter as well, correct?
They do.
It's all one big thing together. Have you ever considered saying, you guys are doing a good job on the shelter side, but we need to do something different with the enforcement side? And I bring that up because all they tell the citizens is, when they call animal control, they say, call the police. Our police can't do everything. That's why you're the animal control. So they should not have to be told, call the police. The animal control officer should be enforcing and doing what he's supposed to do. And that's the kind of stuff we need to dig into instead of just giving them an automatic check because we did some kind of agreement a long time ago in the name of quote unquote saving money, which the jury's out on that. I'm trying to get this data now to see if that's true. So I know it's not your fault and I sound like I'm taking it out on you, but you stood up.
No, I was in the.
Because no one else wanted to come and stand up.
I've been in these meetings since the beginning. It is,
Okay.
I took on this responsibility, so.
Well, I appreciate it if you can get them here, especially before we decide to do any kind of new agreement with them. And then that'd be a more appropriate time, I know, to really bring them to task on some of these things. And then maybe do some amendments, perhaps like put a couple aldermen back on the health board. And all these other different things on my mind. But we can do nothing when we keep operating the way we're operating. I appreciate you, Director, and thanks for coming.
The director can tell you I have brought that up in meetings, have I not, Director?
I appreciate you, Mayor, for
I
bringing
have.
that up.
Yes, sir.
She has pushed back.
That's a good thing.
I've pushed back quite a bit.
Thank you.
Alderman Gregory.
Thank you, Mayor. No, I second Alder Williams' frustration because not only have I witnessed it, but I definitely hear it from him about in our discussions, and not only from him, but within our community and to our council members. An example of this is taking someone's dog, spayed and neutered, and how people love their dogs before due process. They just lost a situation like that today where we took a man's dog, false premises. One of our officers, he's out in the hallway now. I won't bring him up to answer those questions because they'll probably have to speak on it. But did the right thing. Our officers did the right thing, which is why he won the case. But the way that they're operating and not coming and is really concerning for the amount of money we pay them. I do agree that we need to try to bid it out and see if we can get some interest in it. And even, Mayor, I know we've had some discussions about even looking into what it will cost to do our own. Yes, I see Alderman Hanauer's eyebrows going up, but we just need to see and really look at it. We really need to look at it for the service of our community. We get it. The county's a big place. They may be anywhere, but when somebody gets bit by a dog who's, just trying to cut some lawn, somebody else's lawn, they get bit by a dog, and, now we can't get no one there. Those things are concerning, for anyone. So that's my piece. I know, we're 3-4 months, without a contract, we probably need to push on them to get it. I won't be in favor of anything higher than what we have been paying them if we do have to go to it, because they ain't providing the best service in the first place, but we do need something. And that's it. I agree with that on the health department side as well. And I don't know, we may have to look into some legal, whatever we have to do legally, Murdoch, to really, look into that. If we're supposed to have a seat on the board and our intergovernmental agreement or however that worked way back then when we did that, we need to look at that.
So that's expired, but I know that the mayor's pushing to get that back in any new agreement.
Okay.
That agreement, I guess, was what, 20 years?
It was 2006, and we were guaranteed a seat on the board for the next 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why they weren't giving us one. So I've been, because Alderman Williams is passionate about this, pushing back.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you. I don't want to belabor the moment, but appreciate you. Let's go.
Alderman Rockford.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Mike, so is any of this money covering these last couple months that?
No.
Okay, so
No.
this is just for the previous year, so.
Yes, this just, we're billed on the previous, we're basically billed for the amount of calls, boarding, euthanasias, disposals that they do the previous year.
Okay,
At
so.
an agreed upon call,
So-
at an agreed upon individual unit cost.
Yeah, so my question is, are we in negotiations with the county right now? Okay.
Sir.
Yeah,
Thank you. Thank you, Mike.
Any other discussion?
Yes, one more question. So are they currently doing the services, or do they think they're currently doing the services?
Yeah, well, yeah, I would say they're currently doing the services in accordance with how they.
And we would be on the hook for this gap in between, no matter how the outcome.
Yeah. I'll be happy to work on
And
an
of course, we can't
RFP.
negotiate in public, so, but do you know if it's gonna be higher or lower or the same, or?
Well,
You can't,
yeah,
if you
I'm not
can't
going,
answer it,
I'm not
that's
going
fine.
to, yeah. we're-
Okay, well, Mayor, so when's the earliest we're gonna see that, when you actually bring it forward of what they're asking?
Well, I'm not going to bring anything forward I don't agree with, and that's why you don't have it.
Okay, well, we don't want them to get a raise. Thank you, I appreciate you.
Alderwoman Conley, do you care to ask a question on this?
No, thank you.
Okay. Any other discussion? Seeing none, the voting will now be open. All those in favor of the motion, please vote yes. All those opposed, please vote no. Ask Alderwoman Conley.
Alderman Conley, how do you vote?
Yes.
And the motion passes with 10 voting yes, none voting no. The next item on the agenda is item number 2025-208, an ordinance authorizing payment to Flock Group Incorporated, DBA Flock Safety, in the amount of $251,500 for the city's Falcon automatic license plate readers, ALPRs, for February 23, 2025 through February 22nd, 2026 for the Springfield Police Department as amended. The chair will entertain a motion to place agenda item number 2025-208 as amended on final passage.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for discussion. Alderman Gregory.
Chief. James, let him alone now. Let him alone now. Let him alone. The chief got business. He chief now. It's all
Make
good.
that point.
Chief, thank you. I just wanted to speak on this, and not particularly the license plate readers, but I think it goes hand in hand with Flock and our shot spotter technology and things. And we used to go to other areas where we've seen the highest amount of shot spotters and things, and sort of clean up and connect with those residents. Have we talked with Flock about continuing that along with the city, and how do we do that? I think, and the reason why I say that, right? I have, and my colleagues know this, when we put money out for things like this, I feel like I don't want it to be forever. I want us to have it in this area, and we get it better. And we're not going to have, shot spotter over here, wherever we have them, for the next 50 years. You know what I'm saying? I hopefully that we're able to move it or not have shot spotter altogether. And I think some of the programs that we were doing before, where we were identifying these areas, and really going into those areas and trying to clean and make sure that people got trash service and working with them to improve housing stocks and lighting and all those good things to reduce the crime in those areas, or shots in those areas, or if we keep seeing from one of our license plates reader that this is a constant speeding place. What's your thoughts on that, Chief?
So, we're continuing to evaluate, make sure our technology is in the right spot. Do we need to adjust shot spotter? Do we need to put it in different locations? Same with our license plate readers. Last year, for instance, we were able to secure a grant for organized retail crime, where we could put some flock cameras in those retail areas to kind of combat some of that. I have a laundry list of cases from that, probably 40 or 45 cases just from the last year of those flock cameras being used to secure good information on particular cases to, make an arrest or whatnot. I do know that, we've used Flock, and just off the top of my head, I can think of 3 homicide cases that Flock was critical in identifying, vehicles which could lead to potential people, recovering of vehicles and interviewing of people and suspects arrested and stuff like that. So to your point, we're always reevaluating, is our technology in the right spot? Is it working for us? Do we need to move it? You talk about getting back into the neighborhoods and rebuilding them and, just engaging with our community, kind of the broken window theory. So we're always, neighborhood police officers are constantly out there reevaluating to make sure that, we're taking care of these nuisance abatement homes, taking care of these nuisance locations and stuff like that to address not only traffic concerns, but just the, maybe loud music, hot spots for, maybe gatherings, block parties and stuff like that. So that's a continued evaluation. It's driven by not only data, but also complaints as well.
Okay, all right. I just, wanted to speak on that real quickly on both those. I would imagine they'll be coming for their shot spotter payment sometime soon when I see this. And, I'm really going to push for that because I think in those areas where we're seeing the highest amount of gunshots and things that we have to address the root causes of those problems to bring it down. We don't want to continue to pay, millions of dollars for technology that we shouldn't need, especially in the city, special Springfield. So thank you. I look forward to working with you. And congratulations again.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Chief, you're not done yet. Alderman Donlin.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor, and congratulations, Chief.
Thanks, sir.
I appreciate your willingness to serve. Real quick, I understand that this technology just a few years ago helped obtain or apprehend a bank robber that robbed a bank in Ward 9 and is appreciated. That was very quick.
Correct.
And so it's just another example. You mentioned a few others. I would like to see the department, under your leadership now, make an effort again to promote the opportunities that exist for neighborhood associations to purchase the cameras and participate in the program.
Yeah.
Because I could think of at least 5 neighborhoods in Ward 9 that only have a couple of entrances that wouldn't be too cumbersome to implement this type of technology. But if you guys can make an effort and we can help publicize that, that would be appreciated.
Yeah, we can get that out to our communities and to our neighborhood associations. Also, let our MPOs know to
It's
kind
been
of
a
spread the
little
word
while,
with
so
that. Yeah, and it takes some of that financial burden off the department and the city as well.
Thank you.
That's all we have signed up to speak now,
Thank
Chief. Thank you. Any other discussion from the alders? Seeing none, the voting will now be open to vote on the ordinance as amended. All those in favor will vote yes. All those opposed vote no.
Alderwoman Conway, how do you vote?
And the motion passes with 10 voting yes and none voting no. Is there any unfinished business to come before the city council?
I got to get it all out, Mayor. I'm sharing
Alderman
next week.
Gregory, is it, I didn't know if that was left over or you signed up again.
No, I
Yes.
apologize. I got to get it all out this week because I'm sharing next week, and it's hard to think and do both. Director Fuchs, I want to talk with you about our grass and our overall complaints. I know last week, we said we were a resident complaint-driven process, and it's troubling me a little bit because some of these, I think there has to be a little bit of proactiveness, on lots and houses that we deal with and have dealt with for many, many years. I think it's got to be a little proactiveness on that. I think it's got to be a little more proactiveness, sir, on lots, grasses, houses that I know we are riding by and seeing. We have to, in some instances. So I'll just leave that there. I don't know. I know it's a new lady assigning the lots or whatever the case may be, but it's a little bit of a disconnect there. I have seen some getting chopped down a little bit faster, but man, we got some that I've sent in, and we've talked about this, and you always reply and get things done, but it's some disconnect somewhere between on the grass side, getting them out, getting them to those lots, or when we got a house or fly dumping in the garage, and who has the order, and if Murdoch's seeing it or not, and I just think it needs to flow better. It's not flowing very well for me in our community. I know we have a lot to keep up with. I know it's a beast. I'm not taking away from anybody's work because I lose track of my dang self. But it's very, very, very important, and I think we just gotta get in a routine with some, especially historical houses. There's one house on I won't call the address, but since I've been here, it's been in the same shape for 6 years. That's not a public work issue, but that is a teamwork issue on trying to figure out what we're going to do with this house. We can't continue to let kids walk past bad houses and think they're going to go have a good day at school. The lot right across from Southeast is a constant. Every year we got to cut it. It's up to my waistline right now. We got to get it cut. That lot there, I don't know who owns it. I got some ideas of it, but they never cut the lot. We have to deal with it every year. On the backside of it, Bryan Lane, Joyce Lane, every year. I got to hear from the people about this. I think we've talked about this lot before. It's a very difficult lot for us to get to, even with riding mowers and stuff like that. So whoever owns it, we really need to get on them and stay on them so they can come in from their entrance and cut the stinking lot, and so we don't have to go over the hump and stuff. It's getting ridiculous. It's affecting the homes next to it now, and they're having to do some repairs and fencing and, groundhogs and all this craziness. So I just wanted to say that to you, sir. I definitely try to get out, and, I really wish I could use a truck and some mowers and stuff, because I will help out. I promise you I will. I love to get out and cut grass early morning and stuff. I know I can't, but I want to, because I know we need the help, man. And, I see a lot of spots and things, and, sometimes I can't even drive through my community, man, without stopping, taking pictures, making sure we got them and stuff, and it drives my girlfriend crazy. So, I'm trying to reduce that and really work with you, my friend, to really get a better process with this. And, I don't, directors or mayors or nothing, it's not, we shouldn't have to deal with it, is what I'm saying. But since we do, I think we just really, really need to look at it and make sure it's flowing well, especially on historic lots that whether they're ours or not, Murdoch, we got to find a quicker way to get them cut. We know we're going to have to deal with them. So that's my spill on that. I wanted to also, I spoke to you briefly, sent you an email on some flower pots and trash cans. I know the flower pots downtown, sometimes they're sponsored and stuff. Miss Ramona, I don't know how much they cost. I don't care how much they cost. Whether we buy them, I'll buy them. Some of my community members, we will buy them. We want to start putting some flowers in some major thoroughways in Ward 2 as well. So, I want to gather that information. Let me know what it costs, at least for the flower pots. I don't want those expensive trash cans like Purchase got downtown yet. But But we want to start sprucing up some of our business areas where we have them at and beautifying those areas. And, like I say, I'm willing to help and pitch in on some of those. I've seen them downtown. People are donating those, and I'm willing to do that. I just need the cost. So y'all help me out with that. And that is all I got. You won't hear from me.
Alderman, you and I speak and communicate on a very regular basis.
Yes, sir.
And we are of a similar mind on many, many things. The grass situation is mammoth, and it literally grows every day, and I don't mean to be funny about that.
No.
We're in the season early on, all this rain, cool nights, warm sunny days, and everything's growing fast. Every year we put together a similar organization to deal with it, but it's also unique every year in terms of personnel, in terms of the contractors. We're fortunate to have a lot of new contractors. I think we have about 40 right now. And it just takes a while for everybody to get used to everybody else. And I know we've had some hiccups, but I assure you that I'm dedicated to working it out. I know everybody on my team is dedicated to working out, and the contractors are anxious to move forward. Organization is always a difficult thing, but we're working on it every day, and with your help and with other members of the city council, I'm sure we'll be able to put together a fine working machine. But it's a work in progress.
I appreciate you, sir. It was something I need to get out a little bit, man, and every once in a while I got to do that, and I hold you in high regard. Thank you for your information.
Thank you.
That's it, man.
Thank you, Alderman. Alderwoman Notriano?
Thank you, Mayor. While you're up here, this is sort of new business. See, we've had a couple of high wind events in the area, and people have contacted me regarding limbs. I know we just had a pickup. Any advice for folks who have really large limbs that can't be broken down and put into yard waste bags?
They need to be broken down. There's only so much that we can do, and we can't really go into somebody's private property and be cutting up limbs.
No, they're pulled to the right of way.
So they're at the right of way. If you can get it next to the curb, we can pick it up, and the next schedule is the month of June.
Oh, so we are picking up in June. Okay. Oh, well, good. That solves that. Okay, thanks. That's it from you. Thank you. So my
Can I
other.
Pause one moment, sorry.
Sure.
Alderman Hanauer, is yours for Director Fuchs too, or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you mind if we let him?
No,
go?
yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Thank you, thank you. Speaking of the garbage cans, those expensive garbage cans, my understanding as I drive down, you look over by the Salt Dome, there seems to be a big stack of those still in, I think they look like garbage cans, still in their wood crates. Are we holding those for like the Route 66, or is there?
Boy, I'd have to take a look. I'm unfamiliar with it.
There's an open
As
house
you
you
go
can
down
go
Route,
to and
as you go down Madison or whatever it is, Clear Lake,
Don't tell John.
and you look to your right, it's right by the Salt Dome, and you'll see them stacked. And I'm pretty sure they're those Scott's fancy garbage cans. So,
I'd have to take a look. I'm unfamiliar with it.
if you could,
We're making some, moving some things around at the yard right now, so we'd glad to take a look at it.
Yeah.
And let me take this opportunity to invite you all to Public Works Open House. You may or may not know, but this is Public Works Week, and we are celebrating. So Thursday evening, the 22nd afternoon, excuse me, from 3 to 5 o'clock, you're welcome to come to Sewer Barn, which is where we're actually holding it. The address is 222 North 17th Street. Just turn right at the Salt Dome. We'll have a static display of some of our equipment. The operators will be there to explain to you how they work. We're going to have a Vector truck. We're going to have the RAT, the remote control TV camera that goes down into the sewer. It's very popular. We'll have a truck, and then we'll have some of our engineers on hand, and we can talk about projects, and we'll certainly take any service requests that anybody has. So come on by, 3 to 5 Thursday afternoon at the Sewer Barn.
and one other thing, on the mowing, how many properties do we have to mow, or is on our list of to mow?
I'd have to double check it. I'd be glad to get that for you, but it has increased since I've been here.
Is it over 500?
Oh, yeah.
Is it really?
Yeah.
And are they city-owned properties?
Well,
Are they?
that's a good question. Some of them are owned by the city, some of them are actually owned by the county. A lot of them are privately owned. It's quite a mix.
Huh. All right, that's a lot. That's crazy.
A lot of grass. If we could bale it, we could feed 1,000 cows.
Well, some of it, driving by some of the places I've seen, I'm like, Sean, you could, if you bale it, you could, so as tall as it is, so, all right, thanks, I appreciate it.
Appreciate you.
Yep, thank you, Alderwoman Notriano, for letting the Alderman speak to the Director. Alderman Carlson, is yours something else, or is yours Director Fuchs?
Director Fuchs.
Alderman
right ahead.
Notriano, can we
Go
have
right
one
ahead.
more? Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. Director Fuchs, and I piggyback on what Alderman Gregory has to say, and I'll follow up for what I had to say last week, but I've had a couple more issues this week, as you know. It seems to me, from talking to you and from talking to my zone coordinator and some others, it's on the front end. I mean, I think you said last week, we have 5 inspectors, and that's it.
Yes, sir.
And they're checking not only grass, but they're checking a multiple of other things as well, right?
Housing,
Yeah, I mean, so we can have all the contractors in the world mow grass, but if we're not giving them the notice or the address in time, it doesn't matter. I mean, I don't know, we know the grass grows in the spring, and I'm not gonna tell you, obviously, I'm not gonna tell you how to do your job, but, I mean, we've gotta anticipate, either we've gotta get more people, and I know it's gonna cost money, or we've gotta pay overtime or something, but, it's more than that. I mean, I know that, my zone coordinator had to follow up on a couple today that I turned in 2.5 weeks ago, and then they cited them today. I mean, they were gonna forget. I mean, these properties were gonna be forgotten if I didn't follow up, if my zone coordinator didn't follow up. That's the frustrating part. It's gotta be on the front end. Again, I've got a yard it's 2 foot tall. Maybe Alderman Gregory, maybe you were talking about the same thing over there. I mean, it's just, if I have a handful that I can go to right now, if Alderman Gregory has a handful, we probably all have a handful. I mean, if it's a problem, it's a manpower issue, then Mayor, I don't know, maybe we've got to think about something and just shifting of some resources or some people. So I appreciate what you do, Director. It's just frustrating. We get calls day after day after day on this stuff. I mean, because if we can't get the little stuff right, they're saying, hey, what can we do? So, thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Alderwoman Notrano, please forgive me. Alderman Tomlin, is yours for Director Fuchs also?
I apologize, Alderwoman. It is, my
Okay.
question does kind of relate to this.
Fine.
We're down a slippery slope here, I'm sorry.
You know, I don't like to repeat what my colleagues said. I'm not going to do it this time. But on a prior occasion, I've heard Alderman Hanauer in particular and others, including myself, bring up the concept because this is such you're right, it is an ongoing problem. It's the same properties for the most part. Extremely frustrating. Had one today that I asked you about the status of. But can we look and get a definitive answer once and for all, Corporation Counsel, on whether when our inspectors go out and there is a violation, they take a picture of the violation, that there is a fine immediately? Because especially, or is there a way to do it for the repeaters at least? Because what happens is they typically, before it goes to administrative court, they mow the grass and then everything is wiped out and we have to start all over again.
So at the end of summer last year, we completely changed how we prosecute these. So each homeowner will get a notice of and time to abate, and given the 7 days like we currently do now. But then after that, fines will accrue regardless of whether or not they abate the violation. So you get the tall grass warning one time, but if your grass then grows again, you are in violation of our ordinance, and so we will impose our fine and prosecute those moving forward, even if you do mow within those 7 days.
That sounds like a much improved process. Thank you for that clarification and the efforts. Alderwoman, that's all I have.
Okay.
Thank you, Director Fuchs. Alderwoman Notriano, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. I would just like to say on that point, I'm going to say something more. So I am concerned that we do have homeowners out there who aren't playing a game necessarily, but who simply are unable or cannot afford to pay for lawn service. And so I would like for us to keep that in mind when we do. Hopefully we can have someone attending from op-ed, okay, to help people pay for maintenance that they can't get done themselves. So, yeah. And that is it. Director Fox.
Okay.
Okay.
If you'll excuse me, I'm going to go mow some grass.
All right, absolutely. So, on to my other point. Mayor, you may remember last council meeting I had asked for an idea of how many resources or staff were spent, city resources and staff were obligated to supporting the Secretary of Homeland Security's visit to Springfield. And I don't think I ever heard back. Did you have an answer for that?
I did not assign anyone to that duty. I would assume that if there was a motorcade, there might have been someone from law enforcement agencies in front and behind, but we assumed no responsibilities there.
Okay, great. That's nice to hear. Thank you.
We did have one of our mobile camera units down at the governor's mansion, but still not people.
Sure, yeah, thank you.
Any other unfinished business is what we're on. Okay, then we're going to go to new business. And before we go to alders for new business, you all have a invitation at your seat that was put in front of you by City Water, Light and Power. We are throwing a 90th birthday party for Lake Springfield on Monday, June 2nd from 4 to 7 p.m. at Central Park in the Beach House area. There will be food trucks. I personally am paying for a musician to come to entertain you. We're going to have games out there. We're going to have snacks for the kids. So it's a family-friendly event to celebrate the lake's birthday party. So we just want to make sure that you're all invited and know that it's happening to celebrate the lake's birthday. Alderman signed up to speak, Alderwoman Purchase.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just wanted to say thank you to our city. Thank you to the individuals who came out this weekend. We had an amazing turnout for our art fair, our farmers market opening, and our Pride Fest. So downtown was pretty packed and everyone enjoyed themselves. And it was just good to see the sense of community. I even saw Ken Patient. He came and talked to me. So, oh, wait, and I got to do a huge shout out. We had Alderman Williams out there walking. He got some steps in on Saturday, too. So thank you to everybody, and it was just a fun weekend. I just wanted to acknowledge it.
Alderman Cox.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to piggyback on your 90th birthday party for the lake. I know Alderwoman Purchase has her gym downtown, but we like to say that Lake Springfield is also the gym of Springfield, because it's, it not only gives us water, but it gives us entertainment and recreation and what have you. But, and I want to compliment CWLP and any other city agencies that might be helping out. I drive by it all the time. They're cleaning it up. They're making the parking areas look a lot better. They've been painting buildings, putting buildings back up that blew down during the Durade show. Unfortunately, a tree, it looks like a giant tree, came down the other day, but I just want to piggyback on that and encourage everybody to come out. That'll be a really fun day, I think. So thank you for doing that.
Thank you, Alderman. Any other any other new business from the council members? Seeing no one, we'll go to citizens who have signed up to address the council. The first person signed up to speak is James Johnson.
What's the word? Disruption. Almost had it today, Mayor. That's a warning for the city. Disruption. Oh, yeah. TV 20 is probably still live, talking about the tornado warnings. They're still on TV, I'm sure. I'm sure.
I wasn't following you, sorry.
Oh, hey, you got to pay attention to the weather now. You know, it can go wild around here. But I want to piggyback on the last couple of meetings. And I'm going to go back about 2 weeks ago with the Growth Alliance. And there's a few things I'm going to say about that. One is, I don't know why we bickering and arguing about $50,000 and $30,000. Say what you got to say and be done. Don't give them nothing. We need the mayor on that board. We want to keep her on that board. But we might have questions about the voting when it comes to the money. That's the only thing I'm going to say. She can't vote, but we need her on the board. Now, why Hanauer, I don't know why he's the middleman, but you need to cut the middleman out. We got to stop begging for what we want. We ain't going to do that no more. We can't. Ward 2 and Ward 3, we always been. See, when Frank was there, when Herman, Gail, and yourself, we never got. They had to fight. They had to argue. They had to push. You're going to do the same thing. We're going to have to do the same thing. We got to quit asking for handouts. People might need a hand up, but we got to quit giving handouts. I come up here and I fight for people who have jobs, and then they tried to get pushed out. We got a lot of people who just want to get a bag, but don't want to work to get the bag. Now, Ward 2, that's the original Springfield. So y'all can have your Ward 5 and Ward about, but Ward 2 is the original Springfield. And you know why they don't want to push nothing there? Because they have an agenda. Our community has never had a black radio station. Why? And we're the capital of the Springfield. Let's talk about the attorneys in this area. We had a black attorney, and they ran him away. So guess what? All the attorneys in the area get to charge whatever they want for our people. And that's how it's been. And let me give you a secret and tell you what we got to do. until we show up at them polls and we voting 50 to 75% on who we want in office, then they ain't gonna never change. And until we show up on jobs like in some other communities and we shut jobs down because we don't see none of us, they ain't gonna never change. You gotta start making some people uncomfortable. They too comfortable right now. So it ain't gonna never change. Now, anybody who wants a job, that's where we should be pushing, Alderman. And I'm talking about 2 and 3. Now, we as people in our community, why is our community so trash? We got to start teaching our people how to keep our community clean. Y'all sitting there talking about grass and trash and all that. I don't want no flower pots until we can pick up the trash, until we can stop the fly dumping. Now, I don't necessarily agree about people don't have money, because there's a lot of weed smoking going on, and there's a lot of drinking, and there's a lot of people at the restaurants every day. So I don't agree with you can't pay somebody. I see people standing on the corner all the time asking for food and help. How come we can't get them to start cutting grass? They could make money. They can make $20 an hour just cutting grass. But we don't want to go that route. Now, with my last 30 seconds, I got a question and I'm going to need answers to. What happened to the barbecue, the blues and barbecue? Can somebody tell us what's going on with that? And then, can somebody tell me who sounds the sirens when there's a tornado warning? Long as it ain't TV 20 and them meteorologists, I'm cool. But we need to know who's pushing that button, because we all heard what happened in St. Louis. And then Juneteenth, we're going to need to talk about that money and how we can help the vendors, because I'm not liking what I'm hearing about Juneteenth and the vendors. So.
Thank you, sir. Alderman Gregory, did you have something you wanted to add to that?
Yes, I just want to so people stop asking me. We had a great meeting with the Growth Alliance with Ryan McCready. As far as I know, their board wasn't close to it. They just haven't met. For whatever happened. I don't take anything or any fight that we take upon as begging. In fact, I probably need to do better about communicating sometimes, but I often just go after it a lot of times. And then I may not say anything even to my own caucus members. At times I need to not do that. But so I don't take it as begging or anything like that. All places in Ward 2 are not ravished with trash and things. We do have a high concentration in some areas that we are working hard on to get. One of those, when we see those 50 houses touch down prayerfully, it will help the neighborhood of Hope area out. That's one of our highest traffic areas of fly dumping and just some things of that nature, and some other spots. The goal for that wasn't to for that funding to be what we are operating on, or what we need in our community. That was so that subcommittee would have something just in case, because when the tasks that we ask often for our community to do, or those who serve our community, often take a little bit of resources, whether it's renting a space or having a space or providing snacks, paying people to come speak, whatever, all of those things. You have to have a little funding to do that. So that's where that concept comes from. The actual execution of things that we want, we have our economic development department that's going to continue to execute those funds and funds that we get from the city of Springfield. And what we wanted them to do is focus on entrepreneurs, because our community has brightened talent. You know that. Our brother, he stays in Ward 5, but his office is in Ward 2. He's been on Steve Harvey making things and everything. He's a very talented individual. And so our goal is to lift those people up, is to bring those people into this light that we're in, that we come speak and show them that there is some opportunities to help the businesses that they operate every single day to take care of their families and themselves grow. And that's the goal to that. Not that, everything in Ward 2 is ravished. We I could go over a lot of things that we've done. So I hear you. I hear what you're saying. those flower pots, trash cans, and things of that nature, those things are asked for from our community. People who live in business districts, who visit downtown and other areas of our city, and they say, hey, that's nice, Sean, that would help us, along with some curbing and some sidewalk repairs that we do, and some pole replacements. So we're working hard, to try to beautify and step up the pace. I can tell you that. And we have those conversations. A lot of times they're not up here because nobody wants to be on Front Street, right? Those are hard conversations when we call our directors up here and stuff. But I can guarantee you, those conversations are happening. Bringing economic activity across the tracks is those conversations are happening. I mean, every partner that I've worked with, whether it's on this city council, and it's gonna be hard. That's debate, And I used to take it a lot harder than what I take it now, right? Be up here screaming and hollering and stuff. I don't do that. It's the art of debate. So I can tell you, we're gonna keep pushing to bring what is solely due to Ward 2 and Ward 3, and everybody's going to continue to advocate for what they deserve. But my goal every day is just, and I'm speaking for Ward 2 only, as the highest priority and those numbers and all that stuff. When I see those things and I know they're in the back of my head and the calls that I get, it just makes me keep turning up. Like what you're saying here. It just makes me push even harder. So I appreciate your commentary, but I don't want anyone to leave it like, oh, we got some beautiful spots in Ward 2. We got some beautiful things going on in Ward 2, and we have opportunities to grow as well. So I appreciate you, James.
I appreciate that. And if I said all of Ward 2, no, all of Ward 2 is not trash. But we having a problem with fly dumping and trash. There's a lot of individuals in our community that is trying to keep up their yards.
Absolutely.
And trying to pick up trash and keeping it beautified. So all I'm saying is pushing that we need to get other people on it, or somehow educate. And I say Ward 3 too, because 2 and 3 is right there together, and some of 3 used to be 2. So it's still all there. It's all the same.
I didn't want to belabor the point. I just wanted to give a little bit of feedback so nobody leaves with the impression that, all of Ward 2 is in despair, and all of those things, because we got some, $200,000 houses, in some
Look
areas.
real nice.
Yes,
Thank you,
sir.
Mr. Johnson.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The next person signed up to speak is Kayla McGuire. Kayla McGuire here.
Good evening, everybody. Since we are getting a new police chief, congratulations, by the way, I had a few questions or issues for Officer Beal that I wasn't sure if he was, just so we're starting off fresh. There have been a lot of concerns about police officers not using turn signals and speeding, and I know that that's a concern that we had anyway, so just the turn signals and speeding, because I feel like they also should follow traffic laws. Also, I've noticed, because for my job, I drive around everywhere, and I've noticed there are a lot of officers with the computer systems. They're paying so close attention to their systems while they're driving that they're like swerving out of their lanes. So that's another concern I have. And that's less frequent than the speeding and turn signals. And then lastly, my biggest concern is, and this might not be all officers, but there are some officers that have nicknames for certain areas. I only know the one where I live. I live on 7 Pines Road, and it's called 7 Crimes Road. As funny as it may be, it is concerning because I've lived there for about 2 years now, and it's a great area. I rarely see the police there. I rarely see any issues. So that's just a concerning thing within the police thing. And then the last one is just for the horseshoe. When we come up here and pose these questions, we're not just talking to hear ourselves. We are looking for answers, and we are looking for some kind of solution. Sometimes it feels like we're just coming up here, we finish talking, and the next speaker will come up. That's not trying to call you out, but it does seem a little dismissive whenever we come up, and once we're done talking, immediately. It doesn't even seem like you're taking time to process what we said for even a second. But I do appreciate everything that you guys do up here, so thank you very much.
Thank you very much. The next speaker is Mike Beckman. No? Okay. The next speaker would be Roy Walton. Is Mr. Walton here?
He left.
Okay, thank you, Alderman.
Coming in the door.
Oh, Roy Walton?
Good outfit, brother.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Roy Walton, and my objective for today is to address issues concerning outlets and assistance for individuals involved in police misconduct, judiciary misconduct, and political discrimination. I would like to ask anyone here with the ability to answer, first of all, what's the order of operation when filing a formal complaint? Who's responsible for the review? How do you request disciplinary actions of officers and judges or any legal entity? Is the information publicly accessible? Are there agencies for support of survivors of this conduct or support groups for ones that's currently involved? Is there a consequence plan for misconduct? If so, who's responsible for enforcing it? Is the punishment on a progressive punishment plan? Is it possible for the community to have public access to officers' complaint histories and punishments rendered for the purpose of restoring structure? And who's responsible for this info? These are my questions, and these are my concerns, and I would like for somebody, if possible, to get back to me with a way to give me this information, or is it something that can be publicly posted as far as what steps to take when dealing with these issues? Who do you address when you study being referral from one person to the other person? Like, I filed the complaint first with the city, then they sent me to IA. I filed with IA, and then I referred back to the supervisor of the officer. I've also contacted the PCRC, the Police Commission's Review Commission. I've contacted Human Rights. I've contacted the Department of Human Services. I mean, at this point, I'm just trying to figure out what steps to take, and I'm sure the community wants to know what steps to take when dealing with issues like this. Who's the person or the people to see for accountability when it comes to not the community, but leadership? How do we address these issues comfortably without being in fear of harassment, intimidation, depending on what entity of leadership you're targeting? Who's to support the mental, psychological mind states of the people under this duress? Who's to help?
I don't want to take your time. Are you done, sir, or no?
No, these are the questions that I'm asking, and I'm waiting on a reply from someone to tell me what office to go to, who to talk to, how to deal with this. Because just like for victims of crime, this is mentally, emotionally, physically damaging. It's trauma at its worst. And nobody wants to seem to want to take responsibility for the roles or the positions that they play in causing these traumas, these psychological horrors. All I'm asking is for somebody to give me an answer to who to talk to about who's responsible for dealing with it or helping us deal with it. Or is it any outlets for us? Thank you for listening.
Sir, Director Posey has stood up. If you want to go see him, he'll speak with you. His agency oversees the Police Review Commission.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Next person signed up to speak is Aaron Cahill.
Evening, everybody.
Good evening.
First and foremost, I want to say thank you to everybody who showed up at Pride Fest. Even those who condemn us in the private, it was good seeing everybody that was out there. I come before you all tonight regarding an incident that occurred on Wednesday, May 7, 2025. As some of you are aware, the Secretary of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem, was in town. Springfield residents rapidly deployed to the governor's mansion to assemble a protest and protest her arrival, where citizens believed she would be speaking. Secretary Noem instead decided to conduct a press conference in the vicinity of Emma Schaefer's home. Emma, as I understand it, I never did get the privilege to meet her, but as I understand it, would have never approved of this. In fact, Emma's mother was at the governor's mansion along with others protesting. They were protesting exactly what occurred. While in town, her officers decided to proceed to kidnap a couple of our Guatemalan residents. This incident underscores the need for safety and security in our city. We as a city can't have people being kidnapped from their homes. I don't know about you, but I can say that it makes me feel a little uneasy. And I'm a white man born in a red state. As far as the feds are concerned, I'm not their initial target. But I will tell you, history has a way of telling us what we're in for. Let me tell you right now, history is in fact repeating itself. Now, I'm not an alarmist by any means, but I also see red flags and can identify them. Since January 20th, multiple folks have advised this horseshoe that there are red flags on the play, and we're now down to the final 5 yards. We need to move to protect our community. We can and should tell ICE they have no right to be in this city. The government of Springfield can tell them they are not welcome to conduct operations in our city. We need to let our immigrant community know we support them. They're our neighbors. They're our friends. They go to school with our kids. The governor has already come out and stated this is unacceptable in our state. When these gentlemen were taken by ICE, 2 children were left at home by themselves. A local church stepped up to take care of those 2 children. This could cause undue stress and potential legal ramifications for this family. When DHS took those 2 gentlemen, DCFS was never contacted. They literally just left these kids in this house by themselves. That's illegal in this state. We need to do as citizens in Worcester, Massachusetts did, and come together to the aid of our neighbors. I've not seen anything from the city officially saying this is absolutely unacceptable. And I don't know why the city hasn't put out anything saying it's unacceptable, but I stand firm that it's unacceptable. And I stand firm that the city should make some kind of a statement, unless the city supports them sending our residents to jails, to torture and death camps, because that's exactly what they're doing at the moment. Thank you all.
Thank you. The next person signed up to speak is Robert Williams. Is Mr. Williams in the crowd?
He just walked out with this, I guess he got a phone call.
It's your phone.
That was Robert Frazier, sorry.
Not Robert Williams, okay. The next person signed up to speak is Brianna Eilers.
Good evening. Before I begin, do you remember when I said the country that burns books does not stop until they burn humans? I'd like to point out that over 100 LGBTQIA+ African American history and Jewish literacy books were checked out from an Ohio library and subsequently burned. Please excuse my French, it's very hard for me to speak through this. Since we've been making World War II correlations, I think it's fitting to let everyone know that the Diary of Anne Frank was included in that book burn. We are running out of time. The people on the council, the people sitting at home, and the people that are out on the streets, they need to come to terms with where we are in history, and we need to act accordingly right now. With that said, 2 weeks ago, I talked about the history that created the current systems that are perpetuating systematic racism and class warfare. Last week, I solidified that what I want from my local home rule municipality is your corruption out of my politics. This week, I'm going to touch on why I believe a bubble needs to be shielding Springfield from the corruption of Sangamon County. I'd also like to remind everyone on the council that you do have the power to enforce that bubble, as you are a home rule municipality. This is a trigger warning for survivors, as I will be alluding to CP and SA. Also, a reminder that I have been no contact with my family for 2 years, and they do not know that I am coming forward with this information. Therefore, to whoever needs to hear it, please do not punish them, please punish me. My grandfather was an open-wheel sprint car racer who frequented the Springfield Mile. This is where and how my biological parents met. I would hear lots of stories growing up. Grandpa would go get wasted at Chantilly Lace and come home to his daughter's bedrooms, which is weird because I thought that the establishment was owned by Catholic-fearing people. At least that's what I assumed, seeing that the Catholic Diocese of Springfield received more than $250,000 from the Davlin family. I would also hear stories of how I was just a doll to the grown men in my life. My mom would come home from work and I would be laying on a lazy Susan while my father and his friends would be blowing the smoke of drugs in my face. Or my mom would come home and I would be up against the wall being held by my neck by an Illinois state trooper. Or my favorite, being told that the FBI visited my mom when I was in elementary school, but my mom turned them away because it would be too hard. These things happened in my childhood, they happened in my mother's childhood, and they are supposedly because of politics. And it served as a constant reminder that we should not get involved in politics. This was talked about during family gatherings. It was normal to hear things like, Madigan will get you killed and your killer won't see justice either. These claims were easily proven true in our family due to the retaliation against family-owned businesses that my family endured. For example, my uncle owned a disposal company that was bullied and ran into the ground by a smaller waste management company that is now one of the only disposal companies around here today. It was made clear that if you do not fall in line, your livelihood will be affected. This side of my family sat in this retaliation. They let it boil. It festered. They joined 1% motorcycle clubs, they took up firearms, they reacted to the threat that the Democratic Party inflicted upon them because of Madigan's soldiers. This is the side of my family that lived within the borders of the city of Springfield. I do not blame this side of my family for their reaction. I do not agree with the reaction, but I know that it is a reaction that is based in self-preservation. My family is not alone. This is a normal occurrence for people who have lived and grown up here when you find out more than you're supposed to know. For example, my neighbor's stepdad died while working for the Sangamon County Water Reclamation District. His death was marked as suspicious, but from what I remember, nothing came of the investigation. It must be one heck of a coincidence that he worked in the same department as Greg Frazee, who is a known human trafficker and county board member's brother. This is why my local focus is on the Democratic Party. I know that Redpath created the Sangamon County Young Dems back during this time, and when looking through a lot of the Illinois Republican history, you'll find that they either start as Democrats or they have Catholic backing. So Redpath, Hanauer, Carlson, Donnellan, and Misty, please know that when I say Democrats, I am including you. And that is because what I really mean is corrupt politicians. Just because you send your quote-unquote Democrat friends to other states under the title of Republican doesn't mean we don't see what's happening here. I know that Madigan's soldiers have been embedded in both parties, and I know that every single politician is guilty unless they start talking about the damage they are doing to our communities while staging a photo op for their partisan players who don't care whether your constituents...
Thank you very much, ma'am. The next person signed up to speak is Lori McKiernan.
Tonight I'm speaking on behalf
mic's not.
Your mic. Can we restart her time, Joanna? We wanted to make sure your mic was on, ma'am.
Is it on? Can you hear me?
It is
Okay.
now. Let's get your time clock started again, though. Maybe. Okay, there you go.
Okay, thank you.
And we can hear you now.
Okay. So CEJA, the 2021 Climate and Equitable Jobs Act, has put Illinois on track to adapt to the energy transition of that bill and grow our clean energy economy. But there is still more Illinois can do to ensure we have a clean, reliable, and affordable power grid. That's being addressed by the proposed SERJA, the Clean and Reliable Grid Affordability Act, an essential step towards statewide implementation of the 2021 law. A component of the proposed legislation that we've discussed here recently, the Municipal and Cooperative Planning and Transparency Act, supports good governance and transparent energy planning for municipal utilities and electric cooperatives like CWLP. Over 1 million Illinoisans get their electricity from a provider other than the investor-owned utilities such as ComEd and Ameren. These providers, the munis and co-ops, are not regulated by the state, and nothing in this bill changes that. In fact, it emphasizes local control and creates tools for city council and CWLP customers to access information needed to actively participate in planning our utility future. CWLP is not currently required to utilize industry best practices to forecast and plan for future electricity needs, although thanks to advocacy by the Sierra Club and many community groups, the IRP completed in 2018 made CWLP a state leader until they chose not to do another IRP in 2023. The proposed law requires the munis and co-ops to do such planning and to engage their ratepayers, developing a non-binding plan to meet the same clean energy goals as ComEd and Ameren. It implements improved transparency, democratic participation, and local oversight. SERJA is the consequence of a history during which many munis and co-ops left their ratepayers in the dark about where their electricity comes from, its costs, and the policies that their trade associations and lobbyists are pushing. One of those such trade associations is IMUA, the Illinois Municipal Utilities Association. The language in the Transparency and Planning Act bill has been agreed upon by lobbyists, representatives of the supporting legislators, IMEA, IMUA, and representatives of munis and co-ops. The bill has been modified to compromise with changes submitted by IMUA and others. All parties in the negotiations have agreed on the final language. This bill, then, will be in contention to be included in SERJA, the omnibus climate bill. The question then becomes one of securing passage of that larger bill. CWLP Chief Engineer Doug Brown, as we've mentioned before, is also the chairperson of IMUA. One of IMUA's roles is to engage in lobbying and negotiating on these kinds of bills. We really don't know how Mr. Brown has been involved in SERJA negotiations, except anecdotally, but with whatever his level of his involvement as chairperson, he is clearly in a position of power with IMUA. So even when not directly involved, he could naturally participate in negotiations or help IMUA's board shape IMUA's position on pending legislation. So I'll repeat again, all parties involved in negotiating the planning and transparency language have agreed to the final version. Anyone involved in these negotiations who then opposes the bill is showing a lack of negotiating in good faith. If he's participating or contributing to these kinds of negotiations and discussions, we ask that Doug Brown be willing to compromise with the proponents of these bills with public transparency, thereby serving the ratepayers of Springfield and the City Council itself to ensure this bill is passed. In fact, no employee of Springfield should be publicly opposing a bill that was partially negotiated by a city employee and agreed upon by all parties. So I'll finish by saying we are not living in a bubble here. The CO2 and the other toxic particles coming out of the stack at Dolman 4 don't stay within our city limits. This is not just a Springfield issue, it's a state issue, it's a global problem, and we're contributing to it. So SERJA is a good bill, not just a good bill for Springfield, but for all Illinois cities and towns that have municipal and cooperative utilities. Thank you.
Ms. McKiernan, Alderman Williams has signed up to speak.
Yes.
And I don't know if this is for you, but you may know the answer. So is our liaison, our corporate counselor, maybe for you, are we supporting this SERJA bill as a city? Or are we on record of supporting Sergio or are we opposing it?
So I'm not sure with the amendments as discussed here today. I would defer to Debbie, who's been meeting with our lobbyists regularly on the energy initiatives in the General Assembly.
Do you know where our lobbyists are, ma'am? Yeah, on the.
So, nothing has been officially filed yet, so we haven't gone on the record on the position of any bills, because it's not officially filed. I have seen a draft from our lobbyist. She found it and sent it to me. It's 600 pages, so I'm still reading it for the main bill. Now, as Lori was, I think, saying, but it was probably hard for other people to follow, the part that, about IRPs isn't in that yet, but I think it probably will be. And I have seen what I think the draft is of that. I know there is one issue that we were very clear with IMUA about is that I think it wants IRPs every 4 years, and I know we still want to see them every 5 years, not 4 years, but but I think it seems like a lot of progress was made on the language over the last few months compared to what we had seen. But until something is been filed, we won't have official position.
So no witness slips, none of that kind of
Yeah,
stuff
no.
yet, okay. So when we get to that point, I mean, how does that work? Who, is it the mayor's office or you, or who files on behalf of the city through our lobbyists on supporting or opposing any particular bill? Not even really this one, but I'm asking about this one.
So we have biweekly conference calls with our lobbyists where the mayor's involved in, and then the directors are involved in to discuss what the city's position would be on those particular bills.
Alderman, I would like to add that you have a right to file a slip at any time as an alderman, too.
As
Yeah.
a person, yes, I know.
Well,
Thank you.
and
Yeah.
to sign it as the alderman, absolutely.
Thank you, guys, appreciate it.
Next person signed up to speak is Ken Pasha.
Evening, everybody. Glad the tornado passed over our fair city. I got to admit, I watched some clouds swirl in my neighborhood nervously for a little bit, so just glad everybody in our city made it through it safely. I do want to note Kristi Noem, as we've noted, has visited our city. I'm sure no one was really happy to welcome her, but she made a rather ignorant statement today under testimony with Congress that she isn't sure where habeas corpus lies in terms of who's in control of that, and she thinks it's under the president's authority. She actually had to have a sitting senator lecturer, the director of our Homeland Security for our entire country, to be lectured about how habeas corpus works and where it originates. It's embarrassing to exist in this country right now. I'll be quite frank. Decades and centuries of embarrassing things that I'm sure you guys have all heard me talk about for a really long time, but it's getting excessive at this point. And I think it's deeply frustrating that within our own city, even at such a wonderful event as Pride, we had people show up that were basically bigots with protest signs to come interrupt a beautiful day. But I will note that I personally made sure that they felt very unwelcome there, as did other people, as we all should. Because I think that's the kind of thing that I hope our city will encourage more of, is that people like Kristi Noem are not welcome here. Whether or not you agree with their policies personally or you vote for the people that appointed them, they're not welcome here. This is a sanctuary state, not just a city. Our law enforcement can't cooperate with them, and they shouldn't be welcome here. I actively encourage our own citizens to resist anyone that you see trying to kidnap another human being. Because if they're denying people due process and habeas corpus, I think one of the most important things you should always remember in self-defense is that you would never let a kidnapper take you to a second location. And that's the scary part. That's where we are now at this point. And I think it worries probably our own police chief. Because if our citizens are worried that they're not going to get in front of a judge, or they're not going to be charged, why would I let anyone put the cuffs on me? Why would I let them put it on any of our citizens? And I think that's the kind of question that you guys as leaders should start questioning, whether or not ICE agents that come to our city and leave children unattended. I have friends who have literally had DCFS officials show up to their house under the suspicion that they left their kids unattended. But we have federal agents coming and executing bogus warrants in our city. That's unacceptable. I'll note that back in 2017, 3 of our alderpersons out of 10 voted to make this a welcoming city. Even with Illinois' protections, you still have the ability to add additional ones, like making this an actual sanctuary city. I would strongly advise you and urge you to put that kind of language in an ordinance. Things are getting worse. It's not getting better. We're about to watch our president throw one of the largest birthday parades you've ever seen in your life. And the only place I'm familiar with that does those kind of things is North Korea, Russia, and other dictatorships. That should worry all of us. It doesn't matter if you voted for him or not. You cannot, under good conscience, be sanctioning the kind of things that you're watching happening right now, where our Constitution is being shredded, where the Supreme Court is being ignored on a 9-0 decision. That's literally the rule of law being flouted by our head official. And I think that's the kind of thing that I think all of us, especially within the people that I talk to and that our community, are deeply, deeply worried about what comes next. People talking about getting concealed carry licenses and FOID cards and things like that, as though that's going to stop the fear that we all feel about what comes next. Because if they're deporting people that were born here, if they're deporting people that are naturalized, if they're deporting people at their immigration appointments, I mean, these people are following the law. And they're still being sent out of country. They're still being shipped to, and it's not just El Salvador. I mean, I don't know if you guys saw the news recently, but they're shipping them elsewhere too, like South Sudan. I mean, it should worry all of us. And I really hope that as city leaders, you guys are really considering what you can do to calm that sort of fear here. Because it's very palpable amongst the people in this community. And I think it's really worrying to a lot of us that we don't hear a lot of that from our city leaders. Simple statements, simple, speeches, or even just simple things like saying, Kristi Noem isn't welcome here. I mean, I'm not going to talk about your personal politics or question them, Mayor. But the idea, though, that as citizens of this community, we would all feel a lot safer if our elected leaders took more time to kind of speak to that larger level, because I know you guys deal with things like lawns and snow shoveling and things like that, but that existential fear, I'm sure you guys feel, and I think everyone.
The next person signed up to speak is Rachel King Johnson. Is your microphone on? Can you just test it?
No,
Yeah,
I
I'll
don't think,
wait a
now it is.
second.
Okay,
Hang on, can you let us reset your clock?
Please.
Please, and thank you.
that'd be wonderful.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Madam Mayor and Alderpeople, my name's Rachel King Johnson. I reside in Ward 6. I'm a certified drug and alcohol counselor, and I'm a harm reductionist. I currently work as a consultant for a private firm, but I am here tonight on my own accord, as a constituent, because your constituents are here week after week, and they are frustrated and they are exhausted. And I'm here to talk to you about overdose fatality data in Springfield and Sangamon County, and let me tell you, I am appalled. The data is horrifying. In 2023, the statewide rate for fatal overdoses involving opioids was 2.27 fatal overdoses per 10,000 people. Here in Springfield, our Sangamon County, we had a higher fatal overdose rate than Cook County and the entire Chicagoland area. Cook County's rate was 3.14, ours is 3.30. Now let's take a closer look at the racial disparities here in Sangamon County, because the numbers do not lie. In 2020, we see the Black deaths with the overdose fatalities really start to skyrocket with the pandemic. In 2023, the deaths per 10,000 population in the Black community were 6.73. In the white population, 2.78. Those numbers don't lie. You see that discrepancy there, right? So in 2023, Black residents in Sangamon County died from opioid overdose at a rate of 6.73 fatal overdoses, and for whites it was 2.78. I just have to say that again here. Despite making up a smaller share of the population, Black people accounted for roughly almost 30% of all overdose fatalities in Sangamon County. They are dying at a rate 2.42 times higher than white residents. And the disparities illustrate what your constituents have been telling you. We must value Black lives in Springfield. That is not happening. They are dying. That is systemic racism, okay? Being anti-racist is a daily act of resistance, and I urge each of you to look at this with an intersectional lens, a lens that understands the difference between equality and equity, a lens that elevates those who are the most marginalized, those at the fringes, those who are dying, and it is not just the opioids killing people, it is stigma. The stigma of struggling, the stigma of needing care, the mistreatment at the hospital because they are a drug user, the arrest and criminalization rather than treating this as the public health issue that it is. When people tell me we can't change something because of policy, I remind them bad policy can be changed. So I ask you, when you hold power and privilege in your hands, as you all do sitting here, none of you came here to hurt others. None of you did, right? So when you hold that power and privilege in the palms of your hands, what will you do with it? Do you remember Ken Page from the ACLU reminding you that racism is exhausting? Do you remember Dr. Lisa Johnson, a PhD and racism expert from the University of Illinois Springfield, and a sociologist telling you that this council upholds racist policies and includes people who are themselves racist? So racism is killing your constituents, and that's not an exaggeration. Feedback is a rare gift. Don't waste it. People can change. You can change your approaches, your way of thinking, and take a bird's eye view. You can create policies and funding that will protect the communities most at risk of fatal overdoses at this local level. My call to action is clear. We need more infrastructure and funding directed toward Black and brown businesses and Black and brown organizations providing overdose prevention services. That includes naloxone, safer using supplies like syringes, snorting kits, and smoking tools for people who use drugs. Springfield urgently needs to support Black-led grassroots community-based harm reduction outreach. The data demands it. This means expanding naloxone access to methadone and buprenorphine, and creating referral pathways to care. Harm reduction is more than a set of strategies, it's a philosophy, one that says that everyone is worthy of care. It meets people where they are, and it doesn't leave them there. It honors any positive change as the person defines it, and I want to leave with this quote from Audre Lorde, Black feminist scholar. This is from a 1979 speech, 1979. I urge each one of us here to reach down into that deep place of knowledge inside herself and touch that terror and loathing of any difference that lives here. See whose face it wears. Then the personal as the political can begin to illuminate all our choices. Thank you.
Thank you. The next person signed up to speak is Maribel Cruz-Hine. Maribel Cruz-Hine, are you here? No? The next person signed up to speak is Vanessa Knox.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you. I wanted to briefly talk about 2 weeks ago in here. It was very disappointing. We ended up leaving. It was regarding the Grow Alliance conversation that was had. The antics, seemingly underhanded efforts was very disturbing. It seems that whenever there is money that is asked to be allotted, to be given to the east side, there seems to be always some kind of a problem. There has been great efforts from some of you, and it's always appreciated. But someone being born and raised there and an activist my whole life, it's starting to be very disturbing. I understand all of the stats. As I said, I'm born and raised there. I understand them very, very well. Our alderman does a good job. He does, and we're thankful for him. And I'm thankful for the conversation that you and Alderman Williams had with that. You guys fight for us. You do. And I appreciate it very much. The struggle is real there. It cannot just be tolerated over there and referred to in such ways. some of the stats that it has, and I won't go into all of them. There was a wonderful article in the Illinois Times that lists a lot of them. I urge all of you to read that if you haven't. That's just some of the stats. Rachel has come up with a lot of the stats as well that we see on a daily basis. What needs to be stressed is every time there is an opportunity or any form of money that can go to help an area that has a deficit of that level. Playing field is not even, guys. Money helps that to be more level. It helps in many ways to be more level. We need that. Those deficits are real. When you see a deficit, you need to work to make sure that it is lessened. When the whole city thrives, or when all the parts of the city thrive, the whole city thrives even more. I want to briefly talk about generational wealth. Whenever you tarry money, take it away, redirect it, when it's not given to people that need it the most to have businesses, that the generational wealth opportunity diminishes even more. So think back for you guys. You have both sets of grandparents, both sets of uncles, aunts, great-grandparents. That allows you, when you're going off to school, to have more money to be able to do that. That allows you at 16 to have one of the many people to be able to maybe give you a car. That allows you to have a better sense of security because you have grandparents with money, great-grandparents, your parents. So being able to trickle down that generational wealth, and it doesn't have to be millions of dollars, I'm not talking about that, but to be able to trickle down a car for the 16-year-old when it's time for them to drive. 4 or 5 people may have an extra car in the family to give them. They may have an extra house or part of their house that they could live in for a while. That is missed when you have stats that we are going through on the east side. That's not there. There's no one to pull that from when there's more renting than homeowners. There's no one to pull that from. So when you have money, especially the small amounts that Alderman Gregory was asking for, please consider how it interrupts generational resources and assets that can be given to the members of their family and grandkids to help their families thrive, like many of your families thrive here in Springfield. So I ask that you consider that and not do the underhandedness that I saw that day. Not just tolerate the east side and say, oh, here we go again. We live there. We're going through that every day. So I ask that you please consider allotments and monies to be there to help disrupt that deficit that is there. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, the next person signed up to speak is Robert Frazier. Is Robert Frazier here? That's all we've got.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it.